Hello and welcome. Today is the 24th of September 2017. I'm going to show a couple crypto charts in a bit, but this is a 12 teamer that I have in my pocket where I get 1,000 to 1 odds if I get all 12 right, and then consolation prize of 50 to, or yes, 50 to 1 if you get one wrong, and that of 10 to 1. Yes, 10 to 1 if you get two wrong. And I got one wrong. The only game wrong so far is Alliance plus 3.5, which when you see that game, I mean, this is not like I haven't been in a situation similar to this before, where the Lions pretty much got shaded the win at the very, very end. And I made a few mistakes. This Toronto game, if I would have studied it more, I would have made a significant size wager on this last night, especially for the first half. And it came exactly as I thought it would. As I watched the Montreal, the team they were playing the week before, and it was about the worst football team I ever seen in professional football play. And Toronto was fighting for a playoff spot. I figured that out in the third quarter. That's how much I've been following the CFL, which is pretty much none at all. And they destroyed them. And let's talk about this Washington game because I do bet what I stayed on here, but I'm waiting for the best possible line that I can get. It's juice. Last I checked, it was plus 102 on the plus 3 for Washington. On the plus 3.5, rather. No, excuse me. So it's plus 3. I was waiting to get the plus 3.5. Now I have to decide how I want to do this. I think I'm going to go combination. Oh. I'm thinking. Do I put this larger size bet on plus 3.5? Or do I just take the plus 162? I took the money line on New Orleans and that worked out. So then let's do both. No, no, no. Let's just do the money line. I just minus 114. Oh man. And you know what? I was gonna take plus 3, plus 102. So what's it available at plus 3? I do like that hook to my win. But where's alternate spreads? Show alternate lines. 106. And it's just not worth it. Okay, that would be point 0.006 to basically win about point 0.1. All right, now the reason why I took Washington is I'm tailing somebody, literally, meaning I'm copycatting. I have no idea why the Washington Redskins are a good play other than the people that have made superiorly large wagers got in at them at plus 3.5 and are betting it extremely heavy. This is the like sharp bet of the week, as I would call it. They were also on New Orleans, as was I. I had opinion on Oakland actually, but it was just like, oh, I hate taking. I really do hate taking road favorites too much, and I took a lot of home underdogs in the a ticket in which is shown here. A lot of these are that of home underdogs. Jacksonville. I mean, I should have bet that big as well, and that was my play. I knew it because the Jaguars were pretty much. They're used to this whole schedule thing, and they looked amazing the last couple of games in London. And Baltimore, I just didn't think they'd be prepared, and they were worse than I thought they would have been when I watched that game. Indianapolis. I mean, Cleveland road favorites. That was like okay, whatever. That doesn't make sense. Buffalo were home underdogs. Chicago Bears were home underdogs. The Lions were home underdogs. The Vikings were home underdogs, and the Cardinals are home underdogs. So that was pretty much the premises within that ticket. So 5 minute mark. Let's do the second half within crypto trading now. But for me, it means tomorrow I got a Cardinals 3.5 ticket. If it loses, I'm going to get $50 cash. If it wins, I'm going to get $250 cash. And of course, had that touchdown have counted for the Lions, I would have been talking about winning 5 grand or the difference of 250. Now, had that been the case, I probably would have put about a zero point 0.5, 0.6 Bitcoin spot on Dallas minus the three. First chart is going to be the start. And this is a start on the daily time frame, as this is a code that I mentioned about trading, and it came very close to where one of the sell orders is. I'm going to put this on a shorter term time frame, but before I do that, it is worth noting that after this large volume rally, it pulled back to what is now the newly rising 18 average of highs, trying to sustain or start that of a bull market. Definitely lots of possible wild situations if it can get past this resistance, something that's capable of getting towards. Let me just need. There's the black color. Getting towards this little level. If it does it fast, again, breaks it, then I don't know, 10, 12, 20,000, 25,000 Satoshi doesn't surprise me any, given what I've seen with other cryptocurrencies and their movements. Let's go on the shorter term now. And this is the 60. And what happened before was I got in, I think, around sometime in here, sold here, passed on buying back. That turned out to be a mistake. But that's fine. I make several small mistakes that just stop you from making a lot more profit when it comes down to it in the end. And what I did was I actually filled this order at 2133 because even though I had an automated order in at 2179, if I know I'm pretty much there, I'm at the computer, which I was, then I just filled it. It looks like it actually kind of went to that number now that I think about it. But so I sold out at the 2133 for that amount, and I sold the amount of over 391, looking to buy 450 of them back at 1609, which means that it would work out to be gaining about almost 60 free of these coins if it does retrace back 1609. It does represent an area in which that it came from. Let's go on to core. And on its daily, I talked about it before. On the day, it had its monstrous gain. I was saying it was breaking out above this level. And sure enough, it went from 80,000 Satoshi and did better than 100% very quickly. And it's since retraced from about 190 down to a little over 80, which is another way of saying over 50%. I don't know how many times I've mentioned on this channel, like how often it is for markets to just pull back like 50%. Could you imagine the stock market going, or the Dow Jones going from like 22,000 to like 11,000 in like a week? What would people be stating? It's just the supreme exciting for me and for others volatility that these markets portray. So here we have the situation after it found support coming back to where it came from, leaving this 18 average. After we can see the previous 2 days, it resisted the 18 average of highs, pulled back. It pulled back more the previous day on this candle than it did in here, and it's going very well. Let's put the 1 hour time frame up next. But before I do that, I just want to point out it's very common that after a big move that you get a retest of the previous high before it does roll over. If it's going to be a key point, I'm referring to this high and this move as a potential to be the failed attempt to bring this rally. It's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying what the favorite is amongst the difference of the two, because breaking out past this could result into some serious moves. Anyway, here's the shorter term time frame on the 60-minute chart, which obviously shows a nice pattern with 1, 2, 3 levels of successful support within the 18 average. A little sluggish with extra moves amongst this pullback, and you can even say there was a support test here as well. And it has now, of course, short term broken past this resistance level Oftentimes markets come back to where they came from. But if you put a buy order in here, knowing that it's going up back in this point in here, you're like, oh my goodness, this thing just broke past the 13 handle. Okay, well, it was at the 12, so let's go here. Well, yeah, it was at the 12 here. It was a bit below it here, a bit above it here, well above it here. And, well, if you got in, I mean, for me, I don't know if I would have gotten a buy order in this. I wasn't really trading this really at all. I bought some buys in here, and I did nothing until just recently. I made a small sell now. Looking to sell more, of course, on higher prices, but among this move here, I've done nothing, just now selling. But yeah, that's something like I would normally do. Now, if you look at the potential for where it could go, well, on the weekly chart, um, yeah, how bullish does of a setup is this? It's well extended from the 18 average. I know it is. It's not the cheapest to buy at this stage by any means. And in 2014, it resisted in here, and then it blew through it this summer. I mean, just blew through it like no other. Going from 35 to 120 on that stage. From the break in here, not from these lows or the bottom, but from this break, it goes from 35 to 120. That's almost 4x. It's better than 3x. Huge moves. And then the correction from the new move to the 18 average, also back to where it came from. Not only in here, but I guess it never came back in here. But this is a classic example where this is a bottom I could never ever hit because the buy was like 35, and if you're going to buy below that, then you're talking about buying at about 17, 18. But hey, you buy here 35 and you see the price is at 146 now with the potential to go significantly higher. Let's just do some Fibonacci upside. 1200 moving down to 230. So an upside target of like the 333 handle. That's there's a lot of, I mean, these things go, I mean, they just go off. That's why oftentimes when you try to distinguish how you're going to sell, at what price, this is what I ask myself, at what price am I willing to sell out with what I have? And that depends a lot more on my position size and my expectations for it. But within such, usually I would think, okay, I'm going to make it so, yeah, I'll sell everything at the 300 to 400 number. And if it goes higher than that, so be it. And I plan where I sell. So I realize, okay, if it breaks in here, I might try to sell maybe a little bit below this high, maybe another small nudge on the way there, maybe around 250 to 275, and then I'll unload it all at that key number. That's the type of strategy in which I look to do. I don't got that big of a position on this, but when I got like 50, 60, 70 different coins, 60, 70 different coins, it means some are bigger than others. But I do like this setup, and it's getting to become a long video at the 14-minute mark, so I'm going to cut it at that. 2 individual codes plus my football analysis, and that was a catch in the Detroit Lions game against the Atlanta Falcons. And then at least there was a run off of time at the end, which to me made no sense because it was an incomplete pass if that was the case. I'm rambling on to football, but the refs could have cost me pretty big. Take care.